In this demo, we're going to show you how you can use Turbot guardrails to continuously inform your application teams on their governance posture. Here I'm logged in as Bob, a cloud team member who has all of Turbot guardrails at his fingertips. He could see across a multi-cloud environment of Amazon and Azure, Google, his GitHub organizations and repos, Kubernetes, etc. But for the cloud team, this is a portal to manage governance posture, controls, notifications to their application teams, or auto remediation policies. But for the application teams themselves, they don't necessarily need access to all of the capabilities within guardrails. And so one of the new features we came out with is to assign permissions to application teams just on the accounts that they need access for. Using the permissions page within guardrails, owners that have access into guardrails can assign application teams specific access in the guardrails that's limited scope just on the cloud applications they have access to. And so this is different than the current Turbot permissions where you might assign to cloud team members that have broader access in guardrails. Our Amazon or Azure or Google permissions would help you manage time-based RBAC inside the cloud accounts. This is a new account permission type that I can assign to users. Let's just say that we wanted to assign on the supply chain Acme demo sandbox environment, and we wanted to assign this to Gary, an application team member. Could assign, in this case, is an Amazon account, so I could assign them some AWS roles that I have in the environment. But the new permissions are this account type. The new roles that you can now assign to your application teams are read-only, operator, admin, and owner. So read-only would give them the rights to have limited access in the guardrails to view and search their cloud inventory. If they're operator, they can do that, plus take quick actions to fix misconfigurations within their cloud environment. If they're admin, they'd have more rights to manage notification policies, and owner would give them rights to manage other account rights across their Amazon accounts or Azure or Google accounts. Here, if I was going to give Gary an account operator role, I would grant him that permission, just like any other RBAC permission within guardrails. I can always choose if I want to pre-approve those rights so that we can grant them later, or I can expire them. And so in this case, I could say, I want Gary to have these rights immediately, but they're never going to expire. Or I could say, Gary has this operator right on this supply chain account only for the next 6 hours or some custom period of time. So very flexible to assign many identities from your directories, different types of roles in time-limited fashion. I've already granted Gary those rights. And so hitting over to Gary's profile, here I'm logged in as Gary, and he has a limited view within his Turbot environment. So what he can only see is access to that demo sandbox. And then he can use guardrails just like the cloud team can, but in this limited scope to search his inventory or explore it. And so if I just wanted to look up S3 buckets, I could see all those in my accounts. Typical guardrails, all of this is updated in real time as changes occur. Application teams would have inventory at their fingertips, whether one or many cloud accounts or multi-cloud accounts. They can then view their controls across those and then drill into more of the information. They could do reporting, searching, etc. Part of these profiles also feed into our notification rules. One of the things that you can do is not only can you route notifications to specific emails or to Slack endpoints or MS Team endpoints, you can also associate these profiles as part of your notification rules. And so it's just another way to identify who's going to get information or notifications from guardrails. Using the account permissions, or if I want to assign a very specific role of folks in Amazon or in Azure or Google or et cetera, I can assign those profiles these notifications. So in this example, really simply, I'm just going to notify folks that have these roles to get any type of alarm coming out of guardrails. It would mean that these are the folks that have access in guardrails, but not all the time are you going to have folks that will have permissions in the guardrails, nor need it. And so if you think of maybe some management or some users that don't need to come back or have any type of access, or if you had DLs or AD groups that needed to get notifications, they don't necessarily themselves need access back. As a more flexible policy, you could just define users in a CC policy that will put them on carbon copy on email alerts. Here I have a few users as well as DLs that are part of that policy. And so going back to, you can simply assign those CC users or those groups to the notification rules. Gary is an operator within the account, and I have this set for anything that turns to alarm will actually email those operators. Next part of the demo, I'm going to show a change within an Amazon account that's then going to trigger an alert, and then we'll see it from Gary's perspective. In this Amazon account, I have this S3 bucket, Acme demo Turbot 1, and one of the policies I have in guardrails is just to alert if bucket versioning is not enabled. Now, of course, you've seen demos before. where you can automatically remediate a misconfiguration. But in this case, we're just putting it in check mode, which is just going to alert when there's a problem. I'm in an okay state because versioning is enabled. But if I was to edit that, suspend it, and then hit save. Okay, well, Guardrails is going to pick that up immediately and it's going to send an alert. We have the alert sending to the account operators. And so if I go over to Gary's email here, just got a new email. So it works that quickly, discovers it, and then automatically shows the alarm. So in this case, I have this particular AWS S3 bucket versioning for this particular resource here has gone from okay to alarm state. This is just a default template. You can change the HTML here and make it your own. And so very flexible on the notification. But Gary received this notification. He can take action straight from this. So in a prior demo, we showed how you could put quick actions into a Teams message, a Slack message, or an email, and you could take action from here. We also now include other links so that Gary can then get into the account to look at more information about the resource or about the control. Because Gary has access, I can hop right into that resource. I could see the details and the configuration about the resource. I could see the controls that overlay it. And so one of the controls we have set is versioning, and that's an alarm. I can also look at all the activity. So why did this resource go into alarm? Here we could see that Bob, the cloud team member, changed versioning from enabled to suspended. And so I can clearly see what the issue was, and then Turbot instantly alarmed after it received that change notification. And so that's how the alert came to be. Now, Gary, now being in this environment, for example, if he went straight to the control, he can then see that it's in alarm, get more access to that detail, but he can also just take the quick action. If he didn't want to fix it natively within Amazon or through his app code, and he was just going to simply just fix it from his guardrails environment, he can take the quick action and enable versioning right from here. As an operator, he's able to see these alerts, but then also use the quick action feature to make the fix as well. And so here we've enabled versioning. We will see this flip to green, getting the update, and then it's going to flip this over to green. Now going back to Amazon, we'll see this from suspended is now going to be enabled. And now everything's fixed up. The alert is closed. Everything is okay. This is showing you the kind of the power of the account permissions, where you can engage your application teams to have more ownership of their Amazon, Azure, Google environments. They can leverage quick actions to do quick remediations. But of course, you always have the ability to put things in auto remediation mode and take care of it on everyone's behalf. If you're interested in these features, please reach out to us at turbot.com/start.